Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Rails and Games playing City Skylines. Today we are going to build a commercial area, as you see on the screen here. So what we're basically doing here is that we're adding bikes and pedestrian paths. As you see, we have a bike path that is parallel to the pedestrian path. It's going a bit faster, but you can see that there's two parallel paths having two different tasks. One of them is to provide good infrastructure for pedestrians, and the other one is for cyclists. You can go with pedestrian paths only if you want to, but that only allows the cycling people, so to speak, to only go half the speed, and therefore the attractivity is not as good. We just added a BMX park because a leisurely commercial area needs the BMX park, and people become happy with that. So alright, we're actually trying to fix some traffic problems there, as you've seen. 2 lane went to 3 lane. The AI is a bit tricky on that part when it comes to changing lanes and things like that, so you have to account for that when you're doing your traffic planning and the design of your infrastructure, especially when it comes to road infrastructure. But it's also a bit of a thing in railways, but it's not the same character. Then it's like the usual mergey thingy, but it goes much better then. We named the area Elm Park, I think. Yeah, and then we add the leisure specification, which is one of these new specifications for when you buy after dark. You can either choose leisure or tourism. So that's how it is. And they have the benefits and their cons. So we're looking at that roundabout, which is quite busy, and we had some congestion. We're going to take a further look into it soon. It looks like we're zooming in there. Alright you do. Taking a traffic analysis, a bit fast, just overcheck it, add a little path there to the Mulberry Park commercial estate, or is a mixed commercial residential estate, in order to encourage people to cycle there, because we think that's a good solution to solve the traffic problems in our city. Yes, and it does help a bit, but unfortunately we had to fix that roundabout anyhow, because we just had traffic building up quite a bit too far back for us to feel comfortable with the traffic, and it will even affect demand if you do have too much hold ups and things like that, and people eventually it can kill a city with too much traffic. People don't want to move there, and the city just becomes bad. We're actually extending the cycle path network now from the new Elm Park commercial estate to the old part of the city, Fairview and Wallington. So that's alright, and the old industrial estate. So here we come through to the park, over the road, and there we join it there. Make some connections. Change my mind, want to go on a bridge instead of at street level, take it up, and then we connect it with I think it's called Regent's Village, but I'm not sure about that. But the village up there, which I'm very satisfied with, because it's a mix of low residential buildings and high residential buildings. I mentioned that earlier in another episode where I said, oh well, it's good, it doesn't give such a contrast between the bare land outside and the housing estate, or not housing estate but residential estate. So you sort of have in the centre you have high density residential zone, and then outside you have low density, so that the contrast does not become too big. Extending the cycle path network, that's alright, getting all right connection. I was going to remove some trees that is a bit in the way. Yeah, these cycle paths, what I thought about them is that they're a bit 90-degree-ish angles, which is not that OP for cycling, I would say. So maybe sometime in the future we can look over if it's worth it to smoothen out some corners, and maybe even smoothen out some corners even, so that you don't get sharp angles and longer journey times. I don't know if that's I think it's simulated in this game, because if it takes too long you choose another mode of transport basically. So we add some connectors up to the old neighborhoods, one of those neighborhoods which we built in the beginning. Added them there. There's a lot of just building bike paths, you know, and it's a bit of part of the game. It's a lot of micromanagement and getting everything to work, and sometimes there is these moments in the game which it doesn't happen a lot, but you have to do these small management things. And I like such games, you know. You don't need the action all the time, you know. Sometimes you just want to trim your city for the better. Adding a little ramp there, you see. A little trimmage. Yeah. So we connected up there, and yes, that's good. We'll see what we're doing. And I had an idea that I'm going to do in the next episode, I think, and that is to add a commercial area in that green, yeah, there, just up there, yeah. To add a commercial area, a mixed commercial and residential area, and to actually utilize the junction that I'm going to build. I haven't built that junction yet, but in this episode you're going to see the new junction. You actually test the junction a bit, you know, and see if it really can withstand the extra amount of traffic. Here I'm analysing where all the traffic comes from, and see what I can do to reduce the amount of private vehicles going to those areas. So I took the measure of adding some cycle paths, so that's alright. Just add that little missing link there. Add another link there, you know, these small trimmages, as I said earlier. They're quite important for your city as a whole, even though you might not think so. But, you know, you've heard there's a, should I call it a pun? But it's called, like, many small rivers add up to a big river, and it explains the situation quite clearly with this game. A lot of small things make up for a good thing. No, actually talking enough about that. Actually repeated what I said like 5 minutes ago. Anyhow, doing a bit of analysis. How many people are cycling? Well, quite a bit. We have quite a big increase in cyclists, but it all goes down to new cycle paths, so that's good. People start cycling. That's good. Yeah, we're looking around a bit at this junction. Yeah, doing a bit of analysing. Yeah, like, how much traffic is it? Analysing. Oh, it's quite an amount going out from outside into the city. But I can say that the majority of traffic want to go straight over that roundabout. So I built the roundabout. I built the junction in a way to cater that traffic. You'll see soon. Taking over a look at the commercial estate and see, and I'm extending it. So what I'm building there is basically a residential estate, with the same sort of road structure as the other ones, because it gives a lot of space in the middle with, for instance, can build pedestrian paths, cycle paths, highways, tram tracks maybe if you want to, or anything like that that requires a bit of space and you want it free. You don't want to remove buildings too much and do it after, because it's always easier when you do it correct from the beginning instead of trying to correct it later on. Here we have struggled a bit with spacing, but we managed it there. Alright, added it there. Good, I changed actually how I did. So there I actually had the connectors to the ear itself with both of cycle paths and pedestrian paths, and other places in Elm Park commercial estate. This is not part of Elm Park, this is just next to it. I have only done pedestrian paths as connectors from the bike path, which means cyclist has to slow down a bit. So I wanted to change that and make it more attractive. So now I added a bus route because I thought they needed that. Quite a bit of distance to walk to the train station, or if you go by public transport, and it should be easy to go by public transport. So they need a connection. I'm painting the line, grey I think. It's a bit hard to see there, but grey. I'm looking over this junction line. How should I solve it? Adding a little connection there, but it's not yet sold. It's not yet sold. Adding a ton. Yeah, all right. A curvy path. A curvy path. In Sweden, when the municipal council builds new cycle paths and they do it badly, which they do it quite often because they haven't really cycled themselves. So they do that quite often. It becomes a curvy path. People don't want to use it. They just use the road instead. And I sort of draw a parallel there. I did a S curve. You saw it from the reality. Sometimes they have like S curves just unnecessarily, and there it's quite unnecessary to have an S curve. You could have solved it in another way. Here we rename the holy stone of Regent's Bay, so we add the apostrophe S. It's very important to be grammatically correct. You don't want to have without the apostrophe, even though we've seen situations where they've used without apostrophe. For instance, what's his name? Jeff Marshall. He's a YouTuber from London, I think. Well, he works in London and does his videos there. He had it was about St James's Park tube station. They had two signs. I think they were more than two signs, but they had two versions of station signs. They had St James's Park with the apostrophe S and St James's Park without an apostrophe. So that was quite interesting, And they were like, why do they have that? But if you want to know more about that, go and check out his video. I'm adding the link in the description down below if you want to see his video. So I think you should take a look at that. If you're interested into signs and why they're done like that. At least if you're interested in that sign. If you're a bit curious, Here we see the new junction, which I talked about. This was actually how I sold the junction. If you didn't miss it, I had a lower level where the lower level, yeah. I had a low level where I had traffic going out to the highway, and the high level, yeah, there you see the lower level. Yeah, check it out, Then I have a high level where we have traffic going into the city, and then we have an intermediate level, which from the beginning I thought, well, we can have cycle paths and things like that there, but I saw that we needed this space for roads that connect these three roads with one another, or even the fourth one for the bus stop. As you see the not neon green, but sort of neon green, no, but like light green bus. You saw it there. Now it's gone, but there's the bus on the bridge. That route, we had to build that little thingy to cater for that bus route. But I think that junction looks very convenient. But we will test its capacity, and I can already see the weaknesses in the junction, which we might need to fix further on in the game. So have a look at it and relax. Yeah, so now I took a look on the main junction there. I've changed the angle on the road there, so that we had a bit of a queue before, so that was a bit of a limit, a bottleneck in the flow of cars. Now we're analysing traffic afterwards, and we've already found a weakness, and that is we removed the garbage dump. But the road to the garbage dump actually forms a weakness, as well as this off ramp. So in the future we're planning to remove the that little garbage road thing. You see it there. It goes from the first road that goes to the left, to the right. You see that little car joins the road now here. The garbage dump used to be there. But we're going to remove that road because it just eats capacity. So that's how it is. And ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching Rails and Games talking a bit about his city. And I hope you stay tuned for more episodes where you will be seeing when the city evolves, where we add some new transport modes. For instance, trams. And taking a serious notch on trains. But before you go, do not forget to press the like and the subscribe button. Also, if you're interested, I hope you're interested, you can check out my Patreon channel and then decide what you want to do, you know. But anyhow, bye bye, see you later.